But actually, when death occurs outside or somebody collapses outside, it is usually due to a rhythm problem, when the heart suddenly stops delivering blood. It can't pump anymore. So what usually happens is that the electricity of the heart becomes so fast in a completely chaotic fashion that it can't squeeze the heart muscle to pump blood around the body. So actually the problem is what we call, in the medical terms, ventricular fibrillation. And that is the most common cause of a sudden cardiac arrest. You have to stop this abnormal rhythm, this very fast, erratic rhythm, and make the heart rhythm go back to normal. So what happens if that happens in the outside world? A young man who was a medical student, and he happened to be playing rugby for the medical students, and they were playing in this particular match, and he had a cardiac arrest while playing rugby, and they were able to keep his heart going by CPR until the ambulance arrived with the defibrillator, and he survived. This is one of those situations where seconds save lives. You don't have long. The great advantage of internal cardioverter defibrillators is that they will do this very quickly. It's a very clever device. It can charge itself once it recognizes that there is a rhythm for which it is needed to shock the heart. It can charge itself to the sufficient voltage to put the heart back to normal in between 10 and 15 seconds. It's a remarkable ability, but they are incredibly effective at restoring normal rhythm. I like to think of it almost like having your own coronary care unit nurse with her defibrillator in your chest, in a little thing that size, and it's watching over you, a guardian angel watching your rhythm to make sure that it's always going to be fine, or on the rare occasions when it's not, it deals with it in a matter of seconds. Usually you can put an ICD in within an hour. Many of them are now done under local anaesthetic. The cut in the skin can be that long up here, and the device will be just placed under the skin. So an hour an hour to put them in, and often a day case in the morning. And for many people, and Bernard is a very good example. Bernard, I think, is playing golf as well as ever. Life goes on with a defibrillator. There are actually very few things that you can't do with a defibrillator in place. And what's happened over the last particularly 10, 15 years is understanding how we can monitor the integrity of these devices more closely. The analogy I often use is the aeroplane engines. Rolls-Royce make aeroplane engines. They monitor those aeroplane engines continuously, and were there to be a problem, they would know in the office at Rolls-Royce headquarters before the pilot knows. So they're monitoring. And essentially, devices, ICDs, do the same thing. So that information is there. And nowadays, we can pick up that information from the patient at home. So we will give the patient a small monitor, and when they are within close proximity, a matter of feet, to this monitor at home, the device, a bit like your mobile phone connects to your modem, the device will communicate backwards and forwards, and we will be able to tell should there be a problem, but also in terms of the function of the ICD, so that they could rely upon it working continuously every minute of every day. And at the very simplest level, we can tell how long the battery is going to last. And tell you exactly how long it's going to last. But there are loads and loads of other electronic parameters that we can monitor to make sure that the device is reliable, that it is functioning, so that patients can be reassured that actually they've got a device in there which is continuing to look after them and keep them safe. Any episode of loss of consciousness is absolutely a red flag that requires evaluation. Even somebody feeling as if they're about to pass out, sufficient to make them feel as if they're going to fall to the floor, is something that there should be somebody advising them about whether that requires further investigation. I think the bottom line is that we have to, people have to take responsibility for making sure that they are looking after their bodies as well as they possibly can. Sport is not something we should avoid. Exercise is not something we should avoid. Sensible diet, good health, keeping blood pressure controlled, ensuring that if you have any risk factors in your family, that somebody addresses whether this is something that is relevant to you as a member of that family. Particularly in regard to those who have a family history of heart problems, and anybody who's had an episode of loss of consciousness, an ECG, a simple thing like a 12-lead ECG is absolutely crucial. We're never going to be able to recognize everybody who is at risk. There are going to be, unfortunately, people who have a cardiac arrest with no previous symptoms at all, with no previous history. But they are not the majority. Here is an example of a really up-to-date ICD. Here's the metal can with all the workings in it. And this has something even more sophisticated than a box that you put in your bedroom to monitor. This one will communicate with your mobile phone. And so we can, without the need for anything else, we can monitor this in exactly the same way, day in, day out, and ensure that it's working as it should do. And if there are any problems, it can alert us back at the hospital immediately.